literally did something so stupid this morning, and it's completely my fault. So for my teaching license, I have to take a praxis test, which is a 4-part test including math, language arts, science, and social studies. I was supposed to take this test a while ago, but I do not test well in any sort of situation, so I've been putting it off and procrastinating it. But finally, a few weeks ago, I was like, you know what, I just need to get it done. So I scheduled 2 out of the 4 tests. I scheduled the math test for May 13th at noon, and then the science test for May 14th at noon. Now, for the past week, I have been studying and preparing for this test because I can take it at home, but there's a lot of rules I have to follow. I have been preparing, I have been reading the rules, I have been making sure that I am like good to go. So I wake up today, May 13th, to get ready to take my math test at noon. I cleared off the table, my TV is covered, like there was a lot of rules that I had to follow, and I read every single one and like double checked. For this test, you can actually log on 15 minutes early so you make sure you have everything in order before the test time actually starts. So I sit down at 11 o'clock, I make sure everything is in order, and then at 11:45 exactly, I click on the link to open my test. It says the link is expired. I refresh the page. It says the link is expired. And I'm like, there's no way. There's no way. I've done everything correctly. I have read over everything for the past week. There's no way. And keep in mind, my test starts at noon, and so I am panicking for 15 minutes trying to figure out what I did wrong. I go back to my Praxis account. I'm like clicking on everything. I'm trying to figure it out. And then I end up clicking on the pending scores like page. And I go to look at it, and it says my math test score was pending, which is weird because I hadn't taken it yet. I go look at the time, and I make sure, it said noon, and I go look at my science test, and I make sure it says noon, and I look at it, and it says 12 a.m., not 12 p.m. I scheduled both my math test and my science test at literally midnight. Now, keep in mind, I have to pay for each one of these tests. So I paid $78 to schedule my test at midnight and then miss it because I was sleeping and I thought it was at noon. So I just wasted $78 that I didn't have in the first place. So it is currently 9 o'clock. I have to take my test in 3 hours because I am not going to pay for another science test. And don't get me wrong, I tried to call the Praxis people and be like, hey, let me schedule it at midnight. I thought it was scheduling it at noon. Can we do something about this? And they're like, no. If you didn't reschedule it 3 days before, you paid for a test, you didn't take it, that's your fault. Which, like, yes, it is my fault. I just feel really stupid. So I texted my friend all of this, and I was like, I cannot believe I did this. And she texts me and she goes, I did the same thing. I scheduled it at 1:30 p.m., but instead it was 1:30 a.m., and I missed it, and I had to repay for the test. So it wasn't just me, thankfully, but I will be taking this test in 3 hours, and hopefully it will go well. Wish me luck. Just in case you thought I was joking. My test. And here is the time. And I will check in 14 minutes. I may look bad, but it's currently 1:06 in the morning, and I passed the science portion of my praxis. Woo! Now I'm going to bed.